All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Before we stand for the pledge, I want to introduce our three students that we have tonight leading us in the pledge. They're all from Lutz Elementary, and they all represent the Eagle TV Club at Lutz. We have Noah Ferguson and Levi Wheeler, who are both in the 4th grade at Lutz, and then Vinny Webb, who is in 5th grade. So Eagle TV Club, just for people who don't know, at the elementary schools, they have a TV club. They put on a newscast. They have an anchor. Actually, Vinny is an anchor, one of the anchors there. They talk about news in the school. They talk about lunch menus, the weather, sports. They use teleprompters. They use smart boards. They video. It goes out to all the classrooms. So great thing to do at the elementary, get them involved and new learning experience for them. So anyway, with that, if you three gentlemen would like to come up here, I'm going to bring the mic over here. And if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you to those three gentlemen for coming in tonight and their families to bring them in and lead our Pledge of Allegiance tonight. All right, Megan, roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom? Here. Ms. Lehman?
Here.
Ms. Lewis?
Here.
Mr. Nally?
Here.
Mr. Price?
Here. Can I get a motion to approve our minutes from the regular meeting held on October 13th, 2025, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lehman. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Lehman?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom? Yes. Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Nally?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes, motion's approved. Moving on to our legislative report. Don.
A couple things. At noon today, I had a webinar with the legislative liaison representatives from OSBA and took a lot of notes. And then as I went back and compared them to the document and information that Megan had sent out, they're pretty much the same. And so what I'd like to do, and I talked to Megan ahead of time, like to just kind of go over a couple of the House bills that are being proposed and Senate bills. And if you wanted to pull it up on your computer for board members, and then for everybody else, I'll kind of share a few things. One of the House bills that we've continued to monitor, and OSBA has continued to monitor, is the House Bill 186, which talks about property tax credit and the 20 mil floor. One of the things that this particular bill does is caps property growth for districts at the 20 mil floor to inflation. And it has passed through the House and will head to the Senate. And one of the things, and I did not talk to Megan about this, that it talks about that providing $360 million additional to backfill to schools based on some of the changes that are going to happen here. And apparently this past year, the expanded sales tax holiday for the state ended up being kind of successful because people didn't take advantage of it as much. And so it ended up where the state was able to collect taxes during that period of time on the sales tax. And so what they've kind of looked at is next year, I think they're proposing, or the House is proposing, not to have that sales tax holiday. And what that does is put 360 plus $1 million back into our schools. And, the formula as to how that goes out and who gets what, is probably still yet to be determined. But it will get back to our public schools, and it's very much centered on that. The other thing is how this affects our districts in terms of some will look wealthier than others. And talking with Megan, that this will not necessarily impact us for a few years. It'll probably catch up with us. So we're in, better shape with that particular bill. The other one that deals with inside millage, House Bill 335. It's passed the House and moving on to the Senate. And again, that deals with inside millage limits and would not necessarily impact us at this time. House Bill 129 talks about existing emergency levies, and we talked about that a little bit at the last meeting. But that particular bill, again, should not have an impact on us because we don't have emergency levies on our and then the final one that I would mention would be House Bill 309. And basically the status of that is it passed the House and is going for first hearings with the Senate Local Government Committee. And it's interesting, the one thing that, as you would note on your papers, they're trying to define, I'll read the one sentence, gives CBC's authority to reduce any voter-approved levy except debt if deemed unnecessary or excessive. They put down definitions of those two words, unnecessary and excessive, but there's still a lot of discussion going on out there as to how, everybody has a different version of what's unnecessary or what's excessive. So they're still working on definitions, and I think that'll get cleaned up with the Senate side. And again, House Bill 309 allows county budget commissions, when I said CBC earlier, the county budget commissions, to override voter-approved levies and the fiscal decisions of elected school boards. And that's kind of where I think OSBA is kind of throwing back the question and saying, if the board here has said we need to go for a levy based on all the information determined from our administration and our needs, and it goes through the county commissioners, and then it, gets on the ballot and approved, should a county board or a county budget commission be able to reduce those after we've had our voters approve it. And so there are some different kind of stop gaps in there. For example, on new levies, they cannot be reduced for the first 5 years. So if that particular levy is renewed and then the budget commission views it as unnecessary or excessive, then at that point in time, they can make recommendations and they can actually take action to reduce. But knowing our strong administration here, they couldn't get past them. So they'll, that's going to be going on. And one of the things they mentioned, there were 3 different areas. I wrote down 2 of them. The legislature between now and Thanksgiving are hoping to be done by Thanksgiving and then come back after the first of the year. And one of the things that the 2 areas that they're working really hard on is property tax initiatives. And I think a lot of it with the property tax initiatives that's kind of kicked that into gear is, the collection of individuals signing on to get rid of all property taxes. And we've talked about that before as to what happens when or if property taxes were eliminated. What is the mechanism to continue to fund our schools? And, is it sales tax? Is it income tax? Or is it we just allow the schools to fail? And, and that, obviously that's not an option. But I thought was interesting was the one of the 3 areas that they're saying that the legislature is really concentrating on are the marijuana laws. So it's property taxes, marijuana, and that unknown third category. So those are the kind of the areas I really appreciate. This is so much of this is moving so quickly, and and that's why I called Megan to make sure that we didn't get another version today that said throw this out the window. So that may happen tomorrow. But so she's been really good about keeping up on that, and and obviously working with Denise. The other thing I wanted to mention is we all received an email, and it was talking about a Zoom that's called At a Crossroads: the federal budget, education funding, and the future of U.S. Department of Education. And on November 6th, there's a seminar or a webinar that we're able to participate in. I think it's at 2 p.m. So, I would just encourage board members and to get registered for that. There's not a cost, and I think hopefully they'll be able to answer a lot of the questions that we had or have, with the information. And again, who knows how quickly that all those topics are going to move. And then the final thing is, I think I mentioned at the last meeting, I made a incorrect statement that I think it was House Bill 66 was being approved by the Senate. At that point in time, it had not been approved by the Senate, but I think it's already now has moved to that point where the House and the Senate have approved. So I told Megan if I ever make a wrong statement like that, she's supposed to tug on her ear or say something to me. So that's all I had. I don't know if anybody does have any questions.
My biggest question for our legislators would be to define the provision that they're trying to say. They give a provision out for a CBC to override what local voters voted on. Because whether it's on taxes or not, where is that provision in our state constitution that they can override what voters vote on? Because you start here and all of a sudden it becomes that slippery slope of, well, then we can do this and then we can do this. And it doesn't always have to be about taxes, but where does it end? If the voters vote on it, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. That's what voting is. And that's right. All right. They shouldn't have given a provision for, I wouldn't want to be on a CBC to make that decision where voters are saying, well, wait a minute, we approve this. How are you changing it? That's a hot mess for your local community. But yeah, our legislators need to define that for me, because I've never seen that anywhere.
Well, and along with that, to kind of push that down the road a little bit, there was that discussion about trying to move some of the ability of us as voters to, instead of it being 51%, to kick it out to 60%.
Right.
Well, we all know that, levies fall in that 50% range. And it takes a lot of work to get out and sell our case. And you throw a 60 or a 70% out, again, you're back into fail. And we're not into failure.
And again, it's a vote. It's on our ballot. So does that mean now the next candidate has to win by 60%?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why is it for one thing and not everything across the board?
Exactly.
When it's a public vote, it's a public vote. Majority wins, and that's how it's always been. So I don't know how we can change that.
And that's not one of those things we want to change.
For anybody or anything. No.
Right.
Yep. All right. Thank you, sir. No walk-on items tonight?
No walk-on items.
Okay. Moving on to the community portion. If anyone would like to address the board, they can come to the podium. We just ask for name and address for public records, and you can talk to the board about anything.
Good day. I'm coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm David Pash, 5304 Napoleon Road, actually Helena, Ohio as the address. I graduated from Ross, class of 58, the only class that never lost a football game in their entire career, high school career. So I got to get a plug for that. I'm interested in the Pledge of Allegiance the boys did. I always feel lucky when I don't do that too often because I don't go to meetings that have a lot of that. But I always feel lucky because I was not under God for 14 years and somehow I made it, because back in 1954, Eisenhower signed it into law, and lobbied by the Knights of Columbus, hardly, and they found somebody who would sign the law for them. So we put it under God. So I was about 16 days short of not being under God. So it was kind of interesting. Anyway, what I'm here for is, first of all, I want to commend this Board of Education superintendent for taking on the job that has been taken on for many thousands of years by people who want their children to be educated. I commend your time and your all your efforts to do that. I have just one of your things you're trying to do, of course, is eliminate ignorance. And ignorance is not knowing. That's all ignorance means. You're not knowing. I come with a lot of ignorance, a lot of things I don't know. But a couple things I need to know, I would like to know, and I'm going to direct this question, because I only have, 5 minutes or something, right? Okay. I'm going to direct this question to the superintendent. LifeWise program, I sort of need the stats on that. If it's possible to get those stats from last year's, from like kindergarten to sixth grade, how many were involved, how many were involved from 7th grade to 9th grade, and then how many were involved from 10th grade through 12th grade. That's really what I would like to find out. Life was kind of a new program. We, of course, back in the 1958, and those areas, we didn't have that. We reckoned that catechism on Saturday and church on Sunday would keep us from going to hell. So this is quite different for us to see this. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to would probably talk to the superintendent about is because I've been a science teacher, as some of you know, for a million years, at least 43, almost next year will be half of my life. 43 years in the area, and I also taught high school for 5 years in Australia, Australian high school. So I've been around a little bit. I'm wondering about your biology specifications. The biology is pretty much as a pillar of biology. You have the theory of when you have evolution, you have a theory of evolution, and theory, of course, is the best thing you can say because it's not a law. It uses laws in order to make the theory, but theory is the best you can do about anything. Like the theory of the sun-centered Earth, it's the same. It's the same thing. It just has theory has a lot of facts and a lot of information that pretty much explains why it's the theory. So I'm wondering, do you have in your biology classes, you do use as a pillar the evolution, the theory of evolution as a pillar in your classes? Because it's required by state to do that. You do.
Are you okay if I answer?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep. No, yeah.
Go ahead.
Mr. Pash, thank you for your questions, and I will be happy to pull some of this information and get back with you.
Great.
I can tell you in Fremont City Schools, as well as in the state of Ohio, we do follow those science standards.
Good.
And so all of those pieces would be part of that. There is a very slight difference between the national science standards and the state of Ohio science standards.
Right.
And we do follow the Ohio standards, but I'm happy to go back and find where that's listed for you and give you some more information so you can see where
I
that's
have
at.
a list. I've gone through the list. I'm just wondering if we're following it. Also wondering if you have students, sometimes for sometimes religious reasons, people don't want to have their children be exposed to the theory of evolution. And do you, let's say, do you have people who can get out of that class? And even though they missed that part of the class, they still can graduate with that certificate?
That is accurate. We do allow within the district some opportunities for some exemptions from some of the learning components that take place.
Yep.
They are kind of sprinkled throughout K-12 and a variety of topics and concepts. And we have a process in place where parents can notify their school building, their principal. And then when that comes up, we do try to substitute that time, meet those standards in a way that's appropriate. Because ultimately, we want to make sure that we're preparing our students in the best
test.
manner that we can
For the
for
test.
completion of those that credit for that it's assigned to that class.
Sure.
And yes, there are times that some of those things are tied to state level assessments.
Yes.
And biology would be one of them. So we would really want to make sure that our students are receiving all of the instruction necessary so that have the best chance of being successful.
Great. Well, thank you. I think that's all I need to know. I appreciate your time
Absolutely.
and hope you continue your work of getting rid of some ignorance, which education does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no one else that wants to address the board, we will go ahead and move on, Denise, to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Good evening, everyone. We do have a couple of committee meetings that we will share out this evening, as well as we have a highlight of our strategic plan. I would like to take a moment to give a shout out before we get going we have two individuals, two student athletes from Fremont Ross High School that will be representing all of us at the state cross country meet. Coming up next weekend. They qualified this past weekend. So a big shout out to Bentley Lopez, and he's a 10th grader, and to Lily Kaiser, who is a 9th grader. And both will be representing the community of Fremont at the state cross country meet. So kudos to them. Also, just a little plug that tomorrow night will be hosting our Roscoe's Roundtable at Bircher Public Library at 7 p.m. So an opportunity for the community to come together and have some chat about our strategic plan and ask questions, get some information, and hopefully have some information going forward. We have set those dates, and those informations have been shared and are on our district website. I've tried to vary the time frame and the location for those Roscoe's Roundtables. So the last one we did at 9:30 at one of our coffee shops downtown, and tomorrow night will be at 7 p.m. at Bircher Public Library. So hopefully that helps our community to get behind us and come alongside of us in the work of our strategic plan. If it's okay, I'll jump to Mr. Anway first, since I'm just talking about the strategic plan, and then I'll come back to those meeting minutes. So this evening, one of the things that we had decided several years ago, actually, is that the second board meeting of every month would be a work session, which kind of goes right along with what Mr. Pash was saying earlier. It's an opportunity for us to educate our board members, our community members, our staff, anyone that's listening, and to highlight some different components of the district. So in the last couple of years, we have learned a ton. We have seen instruction in action. We have seen students perform. We have heard from staff members and administrators that can take a moment to share some things that are happening in their building. Since we have a new strategic plan this year, we've decided that these work sessions would be an opportunity to highlight how that strategic plan is being implemented in our buildings. And you guys get to hear from me all too often. So when these work sessions come up, I will be inviting building administrators to come forward and to share a component of the strategic plan and how it's working and looking in their building. So I'm excited this evening to introduce Mr. Steve Anway. He is one of our assistant principals here at Fremont Middle School. He is going to talk to us a little bit tonight about our common component of serving the community. The strategic objective for this is to cultivate reciprocal partnerships that enhance positive relationships and strengthen district pride. So we have 2 action steps underneath that strategic objective. The first one being to promote community partnerships by publicizing staff shout-outs on social media. We wanted to do better at communicating through social media and letting our community know these are some cool things that are happening in our buildings. Our second action step was to actively engage and acknowledge community members for their donated time, talents, and resources. Every month, every meeting, we sit here and we talk about the generosity of our community and how much their support benefits us. So we also wanted to try to really take an honest initiative to that and give back where we could and acknowledge where we could. So Mr. Anway, thank you for joining us this evening, and tell us how community looks in Fremont Middle School.
My pleasure. And as a bonus, whether I was supposed to or not, I think this also will talk about the student component as far as encouraging leadership, innovative choices, and perseverance, and to practice employability skills. So,
Fantastic.
Excuse me, what I gave you before the meeting started is just a picture out in the cafeteria, and hopefully all of you have seen it. Maybe it struck a chord, maybe it didn't, meant something, but I'm here tonight to kind of tell you where that came from, and then this was 4 years ago, so how it does tie to our strategic plan in 2025. Back in the summer of 2021, I attended the Sandusky County Manufacturing Boot Camp. And at that boot camp, we toured Century Dye, Auto Kineton in Bellevue, Whirlpool, Progress TAC, whose president is a Ross graduate. It's in Clyde, ABC Inowac, and Motion Controls. And what we heard, and when I say we, this was educators, counselors, administrators, teachers from all over Sandusky County, Gibsonburg, St. Joe, all over Sandusky County, Clyde. What we heard, by and large, and I'm sure you've heard the same thing from at all of these places, what they're looking for: show up on time, good attitude, work hard, and do what you're asked to do. Really not that hard, but that's what people were looking for, and I think that's what people are still looking for. And I put those under the leadership, innovative choices, and perseverance is what these companies were looking for. And also, Mrs. Hurt has us reading a book, and I say has us because I was going to buy it when we were at the seminar to do it, but it's called Answering Why, and I don't know if you've discussed that as a board or not, or maybe you even have the book, but I'm taking some things You've probably heard the term soft skills, but he calls them, the author Mark Perna calls them professional skills. And a lot of that is just knowing how to shake hands like the young people who gave the pledge. I saw Mr. Price doing that. There's a lot of teachable moments to do things like that. So I went to this in 2021. It's something I really enjoy. I was in the private sector for a period of time, saw a lot of different factory floors, the big three in Detroit, different things like that. So this is something I really enjoy and kind of have a passion for. So we did this. We had to do a final project, and I can't remember exactly what my project was, but I came back and I looked, and here at the middle school, 3 grades, we have 3 teams in each grade. So we have 9 teams here. And I thought, and part of my project was, what if we could get a business as well as to have Ohio University and Capital and Tiffin University and Heidelberg, BG, Cincinnati. What if we could have a business that went with each of those teams as well? So went out, knocked on some doors, made some phone calls, and found 9 businesses who were willing to partner with us. What we did with that, their only cost was we asked them to pay the $30 to have their decal put up on the college decal, which is what you see in the picture in front of you. I didn't want this to appear to be a money grab of some type, or, for $300 you can do it, whatever. Didn't want that to be the purpose of this at all. Quite honestly, it wasn't hard to find 9 businesses. So we went out or did this. Some of them provided like a golf shirt for all the teachers on their team. Others, pencils, different types of swag, different things like that. And I asked them to come in as often as they'd like, or as few times as they'd like, to come in and talk to their team. I told them each team would be about 100 kids. Talk to them about those soft skills or professional skills. That was the goal of this, was to plant that seed with our kids about those professional skills, as well as what they do at their factory, whether it's Green Bay Packaging, Crown Battery, ABC Inowac, whatever it might be, what they do at that factory. So they agreed to do that. It has been successful. There have been challenges along the way. There are company changes in ownership. There's been buyouts. The people that I talked to when we first started this 4 years ago are no longer there. We lose contacts. So that's been a challenge. HR is who we typically deal with. Those people change. And we learn as a school that we are not the top priority of everybody, because we want you to come in and talk for a period. That's not necessarily their priority. So not getting phone calls returned, and they're busy. And we absolutely know that and recognize that. I think it is eye-opening to some of our staff that I've left 3 voicemails for them and we can't get a call back. But eventually we have, and sometimes it takes a little bit more work than it's taken with others. So currently we have ABC Inowac, Crown Battery, Green Bay Packaging, Moser Construction, BMG, that used to be the Fremont Company, Stylecrest, Whirlpool, Uniloy, that used to be Century Dye, and Motion Controls. Those are the ones that we deal with right now. By far, Green Bay Packaging has been our most successful endeavor in this. I think even before school started, they already have 4 dates, one in each quarter, where they will come in and talk to our kids. They have brought cookies in, pencils, little pine trees, well, not all, but the pine tree significant of, because they have the cardboard to plant more trees, to regenerate more trees. That was also their HR person had 2 kids who were here in school or have gone through school here. Her youngest is a freshman now. That has gone really, really well. So when we talk about cultivating reciprocal partnerships, this has certainly worked out well. Motion Industries has been very good. Crown Battery has been very good. Whirlpool was good. We've kind of fallen off a little bit with them. ABC Inowac has now changed to Aria, which is out on the southwest corner of town out there. So we keep bringing teams in, as some showed not a lot of interest. And again, nobody's at fault when they don't have that interest. It's just priorities change, things change. Moser Construction has not panned out the way we thought, but nobody's fault, certainly. It's just a matter of finding the people who want to do that. We also had successes. As I said, Green Bay Packaging. Probably the best success happened, and Mrs. Parker relayed this story to me not too far into the school year. She was, I believe, at Kroger or Walmart, doesn't matter where, but young lady who she recognized came up to her who had graduated and was working at BMG, which used to be the Freeman company. And I don't know how it came up in their conversation, but she actually remembered when they had come in the 8th grade and talked to her class. And she just remembered what they did, and she was looking for a job, and that's where she ended up. So I guess it was the first time that we really bore fruit out of this endeavor where we got somebody who was doing it. So felt pretty good about that. Probably the other, and I don't want to take too much time here, but in the book, Mr. Perna talks about filling an awareness gap and the difference between going to college for the sake of going to college and then all the opportunity that's out there for young people now and exposing them to Vanguard. And again, exposing them to all these businesses where you don't have to be a college graduate. If you are, certainly, if you're an accountant or certain things, you need a college degree for that. But there's so many opportunities and, quite frankly, opportunities to make a lot of money without a college degree if you just have those professional skills. Showing up on time, good attitude, work hard. Maybe they'll pay for your college. They'll if you want to make them keep you, they'll find a way to do it and show you things to do. I would entertain any. I had some personal. I will share one personal thing, and this literally happened yesterday. I was sitting having dinner somewhere and got to talking to the guy next to me. He is in the Carpenters Union out of Toledo. They are his company is doing the demo portion of the Toledo Museum of Art, which I didn't realize they were adding on. I believe 130,000 foot wing or new addition.
Oh, wow.
His company is doing the demo part of that. He said the Carpenters Union will start people at $55 an hour, which is about $110,000, 2,080 hours in a year. So a little over $110,000. And with benefits, it's worth about $90 an hour. And he said, I put in quote, he is starving for workers. And that just shouldn't be. So I won't get on an editorial about this, but I do have a passion for this. I think I also have a passion for some of our kids who don't have an example of a teacher or an accountant or a professional person in their life. And that doesn't make them bad parents or anything like that. I was a first generation. I'm the first one from my family to graduate from college. Just think this is an opportunity when we get these kids in here who are lost. And yes, they start at 11 through 13. They leave here at 12 to 14 years old, to at least plant that seed with them. What's out in the community, and regardless of whether it's here or Clyde or Toledo or Columbus or wherever it might be, what they might need to be successful. So that's our goal, and that goes to the students and the encouraging leadership, innovative choices, and perseverance. So I would entertain any questions if anybody has any.
For Mr. Anway?
I appreciate you saying all that, and I've said from day one, it's like, you've got the kids that, yes, they've got scholarships coming, blah, blah, blah. They've been in sports. It's the kids that are the lost ones, the ones that doesn't have the family support. You just hit it on the head. Those are the ones we have to get to, and we got to show them all these steps, and it's easy steps to get there. It's the hard work, it's the showing up, all that. You just got to do that. We got to get back to normal. We have to get back to how it used to be. We have to get there somehow, and we need them to get motivated. We need to show them somehow. We got to get to the root of these kids and let them know the importance of all this, because this is real life stuff. This is real life stuff. We're in school, and that's fine. You're going to get older and older. There's a day you're not going to be in school anymore. What are we going to do about this? And to me, that's one of the most important things about school is what's the finished product that comes out of here? What do they know? What are they taking away from Fremont City Schools? That means the world to me of what you're doing right now, honestly.
I tend to agree, but that's my obviously shared opinion to some extent. It frustrates me to no end when I sit in a lot of IEP meetings and different meetings. But what would you like to do? That's always a question. What future planning? And well, they want to be an NBA, MLB, NFL player. They want to be a gamer. But it almost frustrates me as much when they say go to college, because it's just been ingrained in our students, I think. And quite frankly, it was with me. I got good grades, so mom and dad said I was going to go to college somewhere. I grew up on a farm, and dad said, there's not enough land here to make a living doing that, so you're going to go to college. And it didn't go real well at first, but but went through it. But there's so many opportunities for kids, and there are, for the B, C, D kids, not the straight A kids. There's opportunities everywhere for these kids if we can get them to think that way. That through Vanguard, through electrical trades, welding, HVAC, whatever it might be, there's some huge opportunities there to literally come out with no debt and make $50,000-$60,000 a year. In your first year.
I know a gentleman, he's 27. He graduated from Oak Harbor, and he was at Sentinel, and he went through that, and he did the what was it, carpentry. And he was a senior in high school, and he's making money working and going to seniors in high school. They wouldn't let him play on the baseball team because he didn't have enough classes. He said, "It's all right. I have a job." Now he works it's the company OCP. They're out there doing the commissioner's building. He's doing that. They're making, they've got a lot of jobs coming in. So he's not without work at all. And he didn't have to pay for it. They paid for him to go to school.
Right. Yeah. One of the most proud moments I've had, I've been doing this for about 32 years and about 25 of it in administration, was actually I was at Old Fort, but asked the student what he was going to do. And he knew he was going to the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers in Toledo. He knew he was going to do a 4-year apprenticeship. He knew he was going to make, I believe at that time, $35,000 a year. And when he finished that apprenticeship, he was going to make whatever it was. And he was a BC student, the most unassuming, about 6'4", 110 pounds soaking wet, but he knew exactly what he was doing. So,
but you got to hear that from somewhere. You know what I mean? You have to have
absolutely
people in your environment and people around you encouraging that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was privileged last year when Green Bay Packaging was doing a presentation here with students, and I got to be able to see that in action. And truly, it was just amazing. All of the kids sitting in the studio, all just captivated by being able to learn something different as far as those options after high school. And growing up in Fremont, you think, oh, everybody knows what Green Bay does or what they make, or, everybody knows what Motion Controls does, and they don't. And so unless they were tied to that, unless they had a parent or, a family member of some sort, they really didn't have that information. And once that was shared, it was the coolest thing, because you just kind of saw that whole little light bulb come on these faces, these middle school kids thinking, oh, that's different than I thought. Or, oh, I could do that. Or, so just making the opportunity for those connections for all of our kids, and then allowing them the options and putting opportunities in front of them and helping them make those connections. I think is great.
And when you talk about cultivating reciprocal partnerships, they come in and see that all of our kids are not the 2% that are in the paper for vandalizing or graffiti or whatever. Right. They see that our kids, they stand in front of 90 kids who maybe there's a giggle here and there about something, but they behave. And it works both ways. I think they leave
really good.
Here impressed with our kids as well.
Your partners are having $90 an hour. I could be toured on retirement.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think too, having all these companies come in, it shows, even if you are that straight A student and you're planning on going to college, that how many college degrees are being used at these 9 companies, whether it's HR, whether it's administration, whether it's engineering, whether it's, at motion control, there's, robotics. So there's a lot of engineering and science and everything else. So even for that kid that thinks, well, I need to go to college because my parents expect me to or whatever, but I really like this side of it and there are these jobs everywhere, even in Fremont, Ohio, if I choose to to come back here after college. There's so many places to utilize that degree, or
Yeah.
so.
Well,
And some
That's good feeds, little seeds for our middle school kids, as you highlighted for, some of those kiddos that went on to high school. But we are also now, we're strongly encouraging those high school kids to have job shadows and to make sure that they are out in the community, and they have to come back and report on that. And they have to, so this way it gives them a little door open, and they have a connection to some of those as well.
Some kiddos have to pay their way through college.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to come back here to Whirlpool, you know what I mean? If I'm going to work the summer before I graduate at Whirlpool, or any of these, places, and have a summer job to help, pay for my education.
That was me.
We've been at Whirlpool.
Absolutely.
You can go in and they'll do journeyman. You can do school through them. You can become an electrician, maintenance. They bring you in off the floor. You can do that from the floor up if you want to go through that way.
Lots of options. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hanway. I appreciate you sharing
My
this
pleasure.
evening. Thank you. All right, just to finish up my superintendent's report, we have CQCC meeting minutes. I'm not sure which of you is going to share. Ms. Lewis, that'd be fantastic.
So we met on September 11th and October 9th to review different curriculum requests. In September, we heard about the CKLA English Language Arts update. I think during that meeting, the teachers were talking about how awesome it is, but how tedious, not tedious, that's a bad choice of words, but just how involved the curriculum is. And it is time consuming in the best way possible, because it's so involved and in depth. Again, this is the first year for that. So I think there's a learning curve associated with that curriculum. And I think the message I gave to the teachers is give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace to learn something new, and watch kiddos flourish. We had some kiddos using some $5 words that were all a product of this CKLA curriculum. So it's very promising. In our October meeting, we heard from a few teachers from the high school to get various class changes, to change stats from a semester class to a year-long class, which would eliminate trig. But I think that was found to be okay, just with the number of kids that do or don't take that class. And some of those trig, the foundations of trig are also in Algebra 2 and Calculus, which are still available to our students. Mr. Gessner, our new business teacher at Ross, is on fire for the business program at Ross. He is so pumped, so excited for all of the opportunities that are before him to make some changes and revamp that department. He would like to add QuickBooks to the current curriculum. We talked a lot about how that would be, again, when we're talking about skills to have kids walk out of Fremont Ross with, to be able to run QuickBooks. I think one of the CQCC members is a business owner and, advised herself, like, yeah, we tried QuickBooks and it is tough. On top of having a full-time job, running the store and all those things. So to be able to potentially walk out of the business department with that skill and that certificate is something tangible, for our students. Didn't quite approve that yet. There's a few questions and a few bugs to work out. So Mr. Gessner is going to complete the program and then come back to us and talk about, answer some of those questions and work out some of those bugs. Mr. Ms. Bear from the Ross Science Department proposed bringing back environmental science as an advanced science class option. This is just to allow another science option for our high school students. Again, some students are on a trajectory career-wise, and they're aware of that right now, to go into the science field. And this would just help strengthen them at the high school level to be prepared for what they're going to encounter at the collegiate level. Our Ross art teacher, Mr. Scherzer, requested a name change from advertising design to digital art and design. This would allow an increase in student understanding about what the class is actually about. One thing that wasn't necessarily in the minutes, but it was a huge part of the discussion, was about marketing classes to our students. We have a lot of students that fit the mold that Mr. Anway was talking about, just kind of that middle of the road student. So it's very applicable to what you just said. There are these opportunities for them, but how do we get them to know that? Something very similar happens at the high school level. Again, no matter what kind of student you are. And I put my own daughter on the spot during that meeting, and was texting her and asking her, like, do you know how to access scholarships? She's a sophomore. We're at go time, you know. Do you know how to access? And not all of those responses were what I would have hoped they would have been. Part of that is her, but part of that is she's in the not knowing what you should know yet phase. But how do we market classes to our students so they can have a career path? If they have a career path in mind, what can they do in high school to get them best prepared for what they're going to do after high school? As a parent of a high schooler, I don't know, CCP versus AP. I'm living in that experiment right now. I don't know, we made the best choice, but she made the choice and I'm going to support her and we're going to roll with it. But some of our kiddos, I think, need a little bit more education. Don't know who does that. Is that a guidance department? Because that role looks different than what it was 100 years ago when I was in school. I mean, I can nail it on what to do in 1995. I'm going to get an F at what to do in 2025. You know, looks a little different. So I think that's an important piece that we need to explore for all of our kiddos. Just giving them a little bit more guidance and like I said, a trajectory. If you know right now, as a freshman in high school or a sophomore in high school, that you want to go into the medical field, what do? You know what I mean? Do you get all your gen ed stuff out of the way? Do you do that via AP classes? Do you do that via CCP classes? There's so many opportunities, but I don't think all of us know how to put all the pieces together. And that was a huge part of the conversation that happened at that CCP, that last CCP meeting. And it came from Ms. Bear's discussion on environmental science and adding that back in, because it's been gone and now it's been woken back up because we have zoology. It's not zoology, it's zoology for everybody who wanted to know. And the addition of this class for a student who is on a trajectory, to work in, the sciences like that, makes sense. So I just wanted to make sure that that piece of the meeting didn't get lost. I think that's
Well, thank you very much. We also had this evening we had a finance committee meeting. So we have meeting minutes for that. Mr. Nally, is that you?
Yes. A lot of the meeting, we had discussion based on what was going on at that point in time, legislatively. So I won't, a lot of that's information that I shared earlier that's already been updated. But I would mention that Megan had indicated that the September financials were a big part of putting together the 5-year forecast, or 3-year, but she does 5. So was one of the areas. And then, let's see, 2 other quick areas. One was talking about insurance rates, health insurance, and what those increases are going to be within our district. And so that was another area. And then we won't be meeting in November due to the conference that most of us would be attending for Ohio School Board Association. And we'll meet again in middle of December. And that was pretty much it.
Fantastic. A lot of information this evening. Thank you very much. You're okay, Mr. Price? I'll continue.
Yep.
Right. I would ask the board's approval, beginning with item number 1, the donations this evening, beginning with our wonderful Laura Lehman and down to the Sandusky County Retired Teachers Association.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve item 1, please?
so moved.
Motion by Ms. Lewis. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Item number 2 begins some of our staff pieces, starting with a resignation of Lynn Schrader. She has been in the district for, I believe, a little over 26 years. So we thank her very much. She'll be retiring at the end of this school year. Item number 3, we have some appointments beginning with some certified staff, a new cook in our district, and some support staff substitutes as well. Item number 4, we have 2 supplemental contracts, one for an after-school program and one for a varsity assistant wrestling coach for our girls program. We also then keep going with item number 5, and we have 2 more coaches to be added, middle school boys basketball and another varsity wrestling coach position. Item number 6 are some special event workers. And ending here with item number 7, these are special event workers that would be for tournament activities that would take place this fall.
Can I get a motion to approve items 2 through 7, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Nally. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lehman. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Thank you. Item number 8 may look familiar to you because we spent a couple board meetings ago, maybe in August. It was a big deal because we had waited for these model policies and procedures of the special education world to come forward. And we board approved those. We now are beginning that annual cycle. So now every year, according to Ohio law, those will have to be board approved by November. So you'll start to see them after this year. You'll start to see them in every October. So there's no changes to what you have previously seen or approved.
Can I get a motion to approve item 8, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bloom. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lewis. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to report of the treasurer.
Good evening. It's hard to see that it's almost the end of October. So I feel like I just closed out September, but next week this week and next week, we're cleaning up all the bank transactions for the month and seeing what everything hit. So while that's on the September financials are what I'm reporting on tonight, my brain's actually in October. So that's kind of where that was at. Like Mr. Nally had said, the 5-year forecast really heavily focused on those September financials because that's our best information at this point in time. So that was, and whatever was going on legislatively, which as of this afternoon, there's more bills on the floor of the House and the Senate to change school funding. So can't wait for that. I'm so excited. Any changes to school funding just makes my world simpler.
Said no school treasurer ever.
Right. You want to talk about an area that needs people to apply for it, employees. I can go talk to every school. I don't know that I can convince them to be a treasurer, but I can tell you we need them. So I somehow closed my financials, so I got to bring those up. I should be better with technology. Oh, I think I can do it. Oh, I printed it off. Look at that. Well, technology's failing me tonight. The biggest takeaway from the financials was just that we have to watch. Oh, did I find it? Maybe. Yes, I did. Okay. So really the only thing that the financials brought up that I did not really talk about in the first financial forecast of this year is just that September is a good marker for us to really start seeing those where our salary expenses come, just because that's when it starts. Our staff starts coming back. Any new staff that we have hired, all of those teacher contracts start September 1. So that those payrolls really start seeing what our monthly expenditures are going to look like in salary and benefits, which is our main expenditure. So this is a really good starting point for us. Even though our fiscal year starts July 1, September really gives us a good look. Staff is back that's only paid throughout the school year. So that is September's a really good month to start seeing where we're going to head with that. So, I don't think there's not too much else that I'm going to report on tonight that differs from what I reported on last week. So that's really, unfortunately, you don't get to hear me talk too much tonight either.
So, Megan, so
yeah.
Our revenues are up, and a lot of that has to do with receiving the public utility money.
If you're looking, if you look at our revenue lines, the tangible personal property, it looks like it's up almost like 50%, but that just has to do with real estate taxes. And when those payments hit, we really don't expect to see tangible personal property be up that high, because last year we saw, in January of last year, we saw that $2 million hit. So
For Nexus?
Yeah, from Nexus, from the pipeline payment. Yeah. So Nexus, when they started paying, when they had the lawsuit finally go through and they started paying at what was ended up being the decision on, it's actually a little bit higher than what they had previously been paying. So we do see a little bit of an increase in that line. It's not that we have any more in our public utility world. It's just they're now paying at what they have to pay. They've paid back everything. So once we get the second payment in January, we won't see that large of an increase because that $2 million that came in January of last year, it will kind of even itself out. It'll actually be less than what we received. So that line overall will be less for this fiscal year. Yeah. Okay. And then we do have a couple of appropriations. The art club, is it art club? Art department received a grant from Sandusky County Children's, no?
Sandusky County Communities Foundation,
So,
their youth division, the
Okay.
Building Communities Together. BCT is who honored the grant. It's fantastic for our art department.
Is that something that the educators applied for, the teachers applied for, or the students?
It would, because it is a student-initiated club within the Sandusky County Communities Foundation, they ask for it to be student-oriented for any of the dollars that they would provide. So actually, one of our students, who is an avid Ross High School art student and is part of art club, actually wrote the grant application and submitted that and was awarded. The process with BCT, you have to come before them and the students grill you. They, you have to have rationale, and you have to tell them the why, and they ask you questions. And so our student, Miss Eleanor Boroff, is who wrote the grant application, was unfortunately on vacation at the time. And so our art department chair, Mrs. Monique Pollock, stepped in for her and told me afterwards what a challenging event that was. But they wrote the grant to support some of our displays. When we moved from Old Ross to New Ross, we didn't bring all of those materials. Some of them weren't in the best shape to bring along. And so it's been on the list of things to add back in. And what we are hoping to do is on Friday, May, I believe it's the 15th, our music showcase that has taken place in our community for many, many years will be transformed slightly and enhanced greatly by now being a fine arts celebration of the district. And so they now have, with this grant, with these grant funds, we'll be able to purchase some displays and some easels and some boards that we will be able to promote our artistic students, our fine art students, as well as our musically gifted art students. So we're very excited for that Friday night coming up in the spring.
And community.
Make you let the cat out of the bag, but that's awesome.
I know, I'm so excited about it, though. It's going to be an amazing event.
And
Yep, so sorry.
the group of kids that are involved are not just Fremont kids. Right.
Yeah. In the Buildings Communities Together, it is a county-wide student organization that represents, just like the Sandusky County Communities Foundation, very county-wide based. So yes, you have representation from all of the schools, all of the middle and high schools. It's a 712. And we have, I believe, maybe 6 students that represent Fremont City Schools. Between the middle school and the high school, we have a really nice representation.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Megan, for letting me jump into your your moment.
oh darn, you talked more for me than I did. So sad. And then also on there, we're just wanting to appropriate funds to that so that they can make those purchases. And then we also have an appropriation change for Project Attend, which is they've found some needs to spend some additional dollars, and they have it available in their cash. So now we just have to make it available for them to spend. So if we can move on to approvals, Mr. Price.
Okay.
Um,
So can I get approval or can I get a motion to approve item 9, please, for the appropriations?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bloom. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nally.
All of us.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved.
Okay. And then item 10 is the financial report for September.
Can I get a motion to approve item 10, please?
So moved.
Motion by Miss Lehman. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Miss Lewis. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes, motion's approved. All right, moving on to board member communications. Don.
The only thing I was listening to it during the meeting, I caught where there was a comment about guidance counselors. I think at some point in time, it'd be good to have someone maybe come in or one of the counselors come in and kind of just talk about the scope of what they're doing now compared to maybe what they did 10 years or 20 years ago. And, just a little bit of a informational piece. And that's all I really had tonight.
Sarah?
November 7th through 9th, the Fremont Ross High School is having their fall musical. So if you are interested in that, you can contact, I would assume, Mrs. Moore in the finance office to get tickets. The hometown ticketing app to get tickets is probably the easiest way if you are a friend to technology. Go ahead and hop on that hometown ticketing website or app to purchase your tickets. Our kids always do a phenomenal job in their presentations, so we would definitely encourage the public to come out and support our kiddos. Shout out, we have a lot of student athletes doing a lot of neat things. Playoff bound football team and band, because I'll always say that.
Yep.
Like Superintendent Hurt said, we have 2 state-bound cross-country runners. Our JV and varsity cheer squad competed on Saturday. The JV got runner-up. Varsity placed 5th. We had in volleyball, first team NLL, Hayden Dirksen, Kylie Kidd, and Tiara Parker. Second team to Ryla Smith. Soccer, I thought this was pretty neat. Our boys soccer team. This is the first time that they've made it into postseason play in over a decade. So shout out to the boys soccer team. Gabe Wensinger, first team NLL. And then for the ladies, Ashton Marseille and Alberto Martinez earned second team honors. So shout out to all of our students, student athletes. I hope parents know by now that grade cards went home on Friday for the high school, middle school. So, and I will always do a shameless plug for Progress Book. If you need to know what's going on with your student, if you can get onto Progress Book, you can see how your kiddo's doing, what things are out there due, and how they're performing. If you would need help with that, I would advise that you see a building administrator for assistance with that. And then happy and safe trick-or-treating out there on Friday.
Laura?
We had the privilege of feeding the Fremont Ross football team last Friday. My work does it we usually take the last home game of the season, and it's just fun. It's fun spending time with the boys. It's fun hearing their stories, their goals that they're working on, and just their silliness just being in there. You know, it's kids being kids. So I had the privilege of doing that, and then while I was there, I got to meet the new athletic trainer, Travis Walker, and he seems very motivated and ready to go, and seemed like a pretty nice guy. So I was kind of the right place at the right time for that. So it kind of all fell together. Other than that, yeah, safe trick or treating, everybody.
Well, congratulations to Lynn Schrader on retiring. That's always a good thing when you can get to do that. Thanks, Megan and Mr. Anway. I agree with Mr. Anway. If you can do a trade, it's not a bad thing to do. It can be an amazing thing. College isn't for everybody, and sometimes it's just not even something you can do, whether you cannot afford it or get a scholarship. It's expensive, and sometimes I've seen a lot of people go to college, they get a degree, and they don't do anything with that degree. But a trade is something you can do right from the get-go, and it can be something that can build up, and they pay you a lot of times to do that. So it's a good thing to get into for all the kids. They're not sure what they want to do. Look into my nephew's an iron worker. They're begging for iron workers. If you're not afraid of heights and you like to weld, go climb a building and weld up. And yeah, not for me, but and thank you to all the event workers and the coaches and all the staff and everybody that we have coming on.
Thanks, Steve, for coming in, talking about what's going on at the middle school. It's always good to hear about different schools, what they have going on, and how they're helping students get through everything in life going on right now. So thank you to our 3 students from Lutz Elementary and from Eagle TV. Good job there coming in and doing the pledge, but also being a part of that TV club at your school. So good luck to our 2 cross-country runners. They're running this weekend. Is it Saturday? I believe it's Saturday. And then good luck to the football team Friday night against Olmsted Falls. So we'll be traveling about an hour east for that game. So with that, there's no reason for executive session. So could I have a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lewis. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bloom. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Ms. Bloom,
Yes.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Nally,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Motion's approved. Meeting's adjourned.